iRockRadio, the world headquarters of rock. It is Mike Carolla here in Studio 64 with our special guest, Red Sun Rising. Thank you for coming to Connecticut.
Thanks for having us. Man.
It's our pleasure to have you here. We actually had you guys in Connecticut back throughout the summer. You came through with Godsmack and Shinedown. Obviously a big amphitheater summer tour. What do you guys take away from a tour like that? I mean, you guys are, the opening band.
Hopefully fans.
Hopefully fans. Right, that's the goal, right? To play in front of as many people as possible, right?
Yeah.
So I think, for me, just watching those bands, that we grew up listening to, basically, it's like they're still doing, drawing that many people, and especially when people say like, rock is kind of the underdog right now. It's not the most popular genre in the world, but you go to that and you say, you know what, it's still there, and it hasn't died, and never will. And that's inspiring to say, like, those guys have been around for that long, and they just kept doing it, and look at them now. So it was inspiring for us to do a tour like that and be like, this is what we can get to if we just, keep putting out our music and working hard.
I've said that often too, the rock is dead thing. But you go to these shows, you go to either a festival or you go to some of these amphitheater shows, tens of thousands of people are there.
Yeah,
right? People disagree.
So, yeah, I disagree. You're absolutely right. I've been very fortunate in my radio career. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I find myself in these situations sometimes where, like, for example, at one time I had an interview with Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin.
Wow.
So he calls up, and I'm having a conversation, and in the midst of that, I'm thinking, how did this happen to me? Like, how am I on the phone with Jimmy Page, or how am I in a room with Steven Tyler?
It's amazing.
I'm curious from a band's perspective, from you guys being around for a handful of years now, but being able to tour with other musicians, and what are some of these surreal moments that have happened to you guys over the last few years?
Ooh, who's first? I don't know.
I'm trying to brainstorm.
I can never think of anything.
Well, no, like you put me on the spot.
It's
played
weird.
this.
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. We played this festival. What was it? Hollywood Vampires. And it was like Alice Cooper and Johnny Depp was playing guitar. I remember being on stage and actually seeing Johnny Depp and those guys, and just kind of being like, "Whoa, that is a real dude." You know what I mean? Because you see him in movies and just growing up and all this, you don't know it, and then in reality, you're like, "Wow!" Like it's a pinch me moment,
Which one of you guys was with me when Alice Cooper?
Oh, I was.
So we're standing there like we're going to see Johnny Depp and Alice Cooper get out of these, or walk to stage. We're standing by the stage. So these two black cars pull up, and like the president's rolling in or something. Like, so Alice Cooper gets out, spins his cane, and points at us and walks on stage. We're like, just cool as hell. Like always
we've
performing.
Been blessed.
So then we're like, Johnny Depp's got to be next. So this next one pulls up. We're like waiting. We're looking. 5 guys get out of this vehicle with black umbrellas, go to the other side of the car, and then that cluster of black umbrellas walk to the stage. We never got to see them.
Yeah, that's amazing though.
We saw him on stage, but
right.
And I remember Manson walked up to the door, and the door guy was like, "Can I see your pass?" And he goes, "This is my pass." And I was like, "Whoa."
He goes, "I'm Marilyn Manson." The kid goes, "I don't listen to rock music."
Oh my!
Yeah, he did. Because they kicked us all out, and Manson was set to perform with them. Him and Johnny Depp are buds.
That's so funny.
This is my pass.
It was funny to watch that. He did do that.
And they always say like, don't meet your heroes, and I think like when one of my early influences was Scott Weiland, and I still to this day regret not going up and just saying hi to him. But that was ringing in my head, like, what if he's a dick? I don't want to.
That's just gonna ruin
And
it.
I didn't. And that was like I think the first Rock on the Range we played with when he was doing his solo thing, and I just wish I would have at this point, but.
You never know, though, right? And you don't want to ruin what your thought and images of a certain person, and you just don't know how it's going to go. So for you guys, you've had a lot of success with the songs that you've put out and gone to radio. You get a lot of radio play. You've had 2 #1 singles, 4 top 10 singles so far. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But what would you say is the biggest challenge or the most difficult thing about getting your music heard by people? Like, what is the most difficult part of that? Is it getting on the radio? Is it getting on the right tour? Like, what are the challenges to getting your music exposed and out there?
I don't think we even know. It always changes. Sometimes certain songs do great streaming, and certain songs crushed at radio. And even still, with Godsmack and Shinedown, there were some people that would come up and say, "You're the band that does the other side song," And I guess it's different everywhere we go. you know. But the Midwest seems to be the most like radio driven as far as what I can tell. You know, it seems to really be our key there. Everywhere else, I don't know.
Well, the Midwest still has a lot of rock stations.
Yeah.
And
no
they do
doubt.
a lot of good support for the genre, which is
Right.
amazing.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's awesome. And it's a different ball game when we go there, you know.
Well, let me ask you this then. What advice would you give a band trying to make it, trying to get on the radio, trying to get a record deal, trying to get on a tour? What advice do you give an up-and-coming band?
I would give them the advice of just being persistent and do not chase what's already popular. Because if this is popular now and you're trying to get here, if you chase it, by the time you would get there, even if you did, it's already gone. So, you know, you're either gonna make it or you don't. And if you don't, if you were true to yourself to begin with, then you made it because you were happy doing what you want, something you believed in. But if you chase something and then failed, that's like the worst because you weren't true to yourself and you still failed. So
It's a broken trend.
yeah.
Well, it's also,
No,
I think, because there's no destination either. We say make it. People throw that term around a lot, but trust me, there's no spot where I did it. Well, time to go
exactly.
home. You know,
Yeah.
You're gonna have
I
another.
made it.
You get a number one on radio. You want another number one on radio. So
We're
you gotta
never
fail on
satisfied.
Yeah, because making it may just be, you know, putting your own music out there and putting it on a record and just playing one show. That could be making it for you.
Right, exactly.
But
fail on your own terms. That's what we would tell you.
It's got to be natural, you know. Be
You guys
yourself.
covered the Alanis Morissette song "Uninvited," which I find very haunting. It's a great version of the song. What is it about that song that brought you to do it to begin with?
I think Alanis Morissette's always been an influence, just because the songwriting. We're really into artists that have really good songwriting, and she's one of those artists. And especially as a vocalist, she's an amazing vocalist, and that's one of my influences. Even though she's a female, and trying to emulate that in the song was a challenge for me, which was a lot of fun. But Ryan and I always talked about doing an Alanis Morissette song because of that, because she's we really do respect her as an artist, and that one was a challenge because the original version, if you listen to it, it's all orchestration, and we're like, how can we do this as a 5-piece rock band? And that was a fun challenge for the whole band, and be like, how can we fit our guitars and bass in there and
Just play them.
and actually play this when it was all strings and orchestra. So that's I think everyone was up for the challenge, and everyone loves her as an artist, and that song had a cool darkness to it that we were kind of drawn to, and kind of fit with our music well.
We're with Red Sun Rising in Studio 64 at the World Headquarters of Rock.